What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of This Might Get Deep. I'm your host. That feels so fake. I'm doing the whole thing.
I didn't even know the title. That's a really
Oh,
good
do
title.
you like my title?
That's a really good title.
Do you know that took me so... Oh, but
It's
my
a
bad.
little-
Let me finish. I'm your host, Ariel May. And we here with my good friend, Tietta, my sis. T. Everybody need a T. I brought her here today because she is so special to me, and she has a story and a journey behind her, and we have a similar upbringing. And as y'all know on here, it might get deep. You like I did that? So the whole point is to bring people here to share their journey and story and be real and to, probably ignite some healing and whatever else comes from this, right, through the grace of God. So we have T. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, wait, let me say. So I came up with this might get deep because, nigga, you know how many podcasts there are? It's a gazillion podcasts.
A lot of names.
I came up with so many names, and I was so excited about them. I'm telling my boyfriend, he excited. He like, oh, yeah, that's the one. I feel like that one could be in Target. Then I go on Google, and it's in Target. And I was so mad. It took me so long to the point where, like, I was getting discouraged too, low key. Like, I'm like, it's too many people with a podcast. Like, I just can't do it because I already had that like feeling of like everybody want a mic type thing. Yeah. But then I don't know. This mic, I started taking a ChatGPT. I was trying so hard not to go to ChatGPT because I just feel like it's taking away from my creativity.
It's a tool.
I know. And my boyfriend was telling me that's his best friend, right?
Mine too.
I was trying not to go there, but I was like, you know what? Let me just share my ideas and like it'll help me. And it did. So this mic D came up and I was like, I like that. And I ran past. I was like, I don't know. It ain't giving like something poetic. And I was like, no, but I can play around with that. I can flop around. It was like good. So. And it might get deep.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thank
that was the first time I heard
excited.
it, and I was like, ooh, I would watch that.
I'm excited.
I would definitely watch that. If it pops up on my little YouTube suggested, I would watch it.
You gonna click on it? Okay.
And you look good, so I would click on it. You was talking, and I was looking at your hair. I was like, she did that.
Shout out to Tailored Hair. Tailored Hair. She whipped and slayed my side part. She don't play. She ain't taking on the clients, but when she will, I'm gonna let y'all know.
Yeah, because I've been trying to get in.
Right.
No, I'm playing.
No, for real. People do be hitting me like, Taylor still do your hair? And then I'll text them like, hey, friend, I got somebody that want to.
And I feel her. And I feel her. Like, when you're really dedicated to your craft and you want to do a great job and you take on too much, it make it difficult to do the job that you want to do. So I definitely understand that.
Getting deep already. We ain't talking about nothing. That's why I brought her. She's a poem. She's poetic, okay? I want you to give your own introduction on all the things that you are, who you are. Who is Tietta?
Sheesh.
Who is
just
T?
a girl.
Just
a no,
for real though.
That's really been my tagline
for real, just
lately.
A girl.
I do poetry. First of all, I'm a human. That's it.
There we go.
Nothing more, nothing less. But the things that I do poetry. I do artist management. I do content creation. I do video editing. I do whatever it takes to get the job done. That's what I do.
She do. And I want you to break down your outfit today because
right.
I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but I did style and pull these pieces.
She did. I couldn't find the tie.
It's okay.
That goes with the outfit, but it's okay.
You lost the tie. It's okay.
You got positive put little crickets. We got the Jordan skirt.
Right.
Yes.
They can see it.
We got the Jordan skirt. We got the zip up collared shirt. If I take the jacket off, it's extra cute. It's like cinched at the waist,
Body.
Giving body.
Because T be in the gym.
And does.
You do.
And then we got this nice denim jacket that I think I thrifted it. And face curated by me, some light. TikTok shop finally got me, and I tried that little
They ain't got me yet.
The lip tint thing.
They ain't got me yet. They probably got Allie.
I know they did.
Allie, they got you?
If she be on TikTok, they for sure got her. Bro, TikTok is literally just a shopping app now.
For sure.
It used to be I could go on TikTok and I had a guaranteed stomach hurt and laugh all by myself in the house. Now I go on there and they trying to get me to buy something every 30 seconds.
And you buy it, don't you?
No, all the time. I only bought 2 things off TikTok so far, and I want to keep it that way.
I ain't got, but it is a few things I want. But I'm the type of person, like, you know, when you in the store and you putting hella stuff in your cart, then when you get to the register, you be like, I don't want that. I don't need that. I got one of them at home. Well, I'm gonna get this next time. I'm that person. So I'll be putting stuff in my TikTok cart, and I get that. I look at that total. I'm like,
that's a good way to shop
right
though.
now.
That's a really good way to shop. That's what I do with Amazon. I just be on there scrolling. I put a bunch of stuff in my cart, and then all of them get put to save for later.
Save for later.
Yep.
And it kind of is like
Come.
fulfilling. Because you put it in your cart and it's like a mind thing. That's crazy. It really is.
And the save for later, like seeing it leave the cart, it feel like you bought it.
That's a mind thing. That's crazy.
It is. That's how they get you.
That is, and that's how you save. That's a new trick for y'all who be overly spending.
Yeah, because y'all just hit add to cart, proceed to checkout. You don't need to do that.
Don't fully check out.
That Apple Pay is the reason why
I'm not
a lot
gonna lie.
of y'all.
I'm not gonna lie. Apple Pay.
It's dangerous.
It's the devil.
They made it too easy to spend that coin.
Apple
It
Pay
used to be a whole process. Like when I used to have to go to the bank and take out money and all the extra stuff, it was so difficult. And now that I'm talking about it, I need to get back to that. That's how I used to spend. I only would spend the cash that I had. And if I didn't have no cash.
That's a good technique.
Because then if you got to go all the way to the bank.
You're not going to buy it. You ain't going to get it.
It's going to slow. You got to put more steps between you spending it.
Because now you can leave your wallet at home. But if you got that phone, unless you're going to Walmart, because they don't take Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Then
they about to upgrade their system. Watch, though.
They should. Because
I'm
not
glad
be
they-
up in there, boy.
Right. I'm glad they have it.
Yeah, because I'm hurting about Target. But I ain't going to talk about that because I'll bet in a little bit.
Might have broke it. I might have broke it.
We don't need no.
But only through DoorDash.
Probably getting some allergy medicine.
Yeah, and they only Target's the only place that sell my skincare because I use Curology.
Oh, okay.
I use Curology and they sell it in the store now.
Wait, we can't be promoting Target.
Sorry. What are we talking about?
Okay, see, all things, right? Yep. Okay, so I just felt it was like very necessary to bring you here today. Well, I feel like it's so close. I felt like it was very necessary to bring you here today because in your poems, you talk about like a lot of like your upbringing and stuff. You talk about like, and even me and you, when we just sat, I remember we was in LA, we was in the Sprinter. I don't remember what time, we went to LA a few times, but we was just talking. You had told me you had wrote a new poem, but it's because, okay, that was the time after. One of them times we was talking.
I remember talking about. Yeah.
And we was going deep just about our upbringing and how we both experienced like certain things in our childhood and like domestic violence, certain things with men. And I'm just like, dang, like that's really relatable. Like we really, we really have a lot that we can what's it called, bond on and like speak about, right? But let me go back. So how we met. Right, we met through Taylor. That's your best friend, yeah?
Yep.
One of your best friends, Taylor, and we was at Cam's creative event, whatever, his little show. And I remember when I saw you, you just looked like a model. You had your curly hair out. You had like a cute little dress.
I think I might have been modeling that day.
You was modeling. Oh, that day.
Maybe not. I did end up modeling. Anyway.
You was full time in your model bag, though.
Yep, I was.
Because I was like, we should do a shoot. And I was like, I want to style you.
Yeah.
And then we even went on to talking about a vacation. I didn't even know you. But you was cool with Taylor, and I like Taylor, and you knew I'm cool with Taylor, and
Which
you like Taylor.
Which was crazy. When I met you, I wasn't really friends with Taylor.
Oh, y'all wasn't friends yet?
That was the first day that we had ever met.
Wow.
But we were like social media friends. And
What's
I was
crazy is
like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like, I really like you. Like she just has, Taylor.
Taylor.
So
Taylor's
she just
great.
has this light that just exudes like through whatever screen, wherever. And that was the first day. And that was one of the first times that I ever like tried to befriend somebody. I'm usually like super to myself, but when I seen her and I finally got to see her in person, I was like, I have to tell her how much I admire her and like we should be friends.
And her personality is just like, she draws people to them just because she's hella nice and sweet and genuine.
She's definitely one of the sweetest people I know.
She is. But what's crazy is that we planning a whole girl trip and none of us know each other. It's crazy.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. But I'm not that person. Like I'm really the type of, obviously because I grew up like in this tomboy energy spirit type of thing. Like I was always just like either to myself or with like my friends that I had since childhood or like I always like to be with my male friends. I just felt like I was like had more in common with them, chilling. It wasn't no like knick-knacking, paddywhacking, all that type of stuff.
Same.
But just that night, to have that realization of that, like none of us really knew each other except like I knew Taylor, but just from like styling her, we wasn't like deep friends or nothing.
Yeah.
And then planning a girls trip never happened. But following each other on social media and then seeing what you do now.
Crazy full circle.
Right. And for me to come, so going to the story, me hitting LaRussell, which I didn't know, LaRussell had hit me like heck before when he was doing his videography and wanted me to style him, but we never did it. But now I was like, let's work, because I was like, I want to help my brother out with his fashion.
Yeah.
And then you working with him also honestly made me feel more comfortable with hitting him, because I feel like I knew you a little bit more, even though like me and him had met, I didn't know him like that. And so I'm like, okay, I see what T doing, and I'm watching you, and I was like hella proud of you, bro. I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of her and what she doing. So I hit him, and then that's when it happened. You was the one who was like, you hired. I'm like, I wasn't applying, but I'm gonna take it. And then from there, like, I feel like just coming around, like me being that girl coming into that group, because it's just all guys.
Yeah.
And you was like, finally. And I'm like, okay, I got somebody here I could rock with. And then that's how our relationship started to grow, with just like talking more and like connecting more. And we always be planning to hang out, but we both so busy. I know you hecka busy.
Yeah.
But just a genuine connection is what I really appreciate. I feel like it's like, not just because of what I do or what you do.
Yeah.
We really like have built a friendship, and it's like, I'll be missing you, bro. I'll be like, dang, I
Ditto.
missed you. Yeah.
Ditto. I feel like you're one of the few female friends that I've like made recently. Honestly, I talk about this often. Like when you were saying how you're so used to being with your guys, that is the story of my life. And so I'm like always surrounded by boys,
Literally.
and I'm always telling them like it's just because I rarely meet women that I feel like we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And that's no shade to like none of the other women and the way that they choose to live their lives, but I really be focused on like getting to it. Like I don't play.
Yeah.
And we both don't play so much that we don't even see each other.
But you don't play.
I do not play. Like it's very rare that I'm out doing something that's not like contributing to my life.
Yeah.
And whether that be like working out or going to like see a movie that I'm like super excited about or something. It's all things that like make me feel great about myself instead of just like, I don't really like to like dilly-dally or just be sitting somewhere where it's like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because if it's not, I could be,
if it's not serving you, you can be going to serve you.
I could be doing, or I could be chilling by myself.
Which is serving you.
Exactly.
You feel me? It is. But I think that's important that you, I admire that, because you taking care of yourself and putting yourself first is how you're able to go out and deliver for other people. Like, that's important.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do when you're in the industry and you're always so busy, and there's always like a demand for whatever it is that you're providing as a service, and like you trying to get to it. You know, like even for me, I talk about how I really, really, really had to pray myself out of this hustle culture and like this grind culture, because it had me in a chokehold. Even growing up, just like I had to hustle. I was telling Allie, like I used to steal plums off this lady tree and go sell them, like, because I'm hustling, like, I've got to get it. And I watched my mom do that. My mom went to jail for hustling, like, trying to make ends meet for her kids, you know, so that's all I knew. And I feel like if I don't hustle, then I'm just going to go back to a space that I don't want to go to, and I'm just everything going to fall and crash. And so it just has, like, it had this spell on me to where I feel like I couldn't rest and stuff. Yeah. So I appreciate you saying that. If it's not serving you, or if it's not something that you, like how you take time to go to the gym, even with you eating right. When I came over the other day, you decorating your apartment, like, and you so busy, but you in a space where, like, you're not going to neglect yourself.
Yes.
That's big.
That's new, too. That's new. I felt like I was tired of feeling like my cup was empty. Like I was doing so much to serve other people, and I think that as humans, we just love to like do things for other people. Yeah. There's that feeling of like when you serve somebody that you care about, there's nothing else in the world that makes you feel like that. And I feel like it's like that for anybody. But then it gets to the point where it's like when you down, or even when you just like chilling, and you wish that somebody was like doing something for you, and you realize like, damn, I've been filling everybody's cup all for as long as I can remember. But I don't know the last time that somebody called to just check on me or to like do something for me just out of the kindness of their heart, and not just because like we're in the same space together and they're like, oh yeah, let me do this now, but like out of their way to do it, you know? So, and that's not to like knock nobody around me, but you realizing that like nobody gonna love you like you love you. So why don't you spend more time loving you?
Yeah.
And that's really where I've been at. And like the top of this year for me was really important. That was on my marathon list of like, love yourself more. You might love yourself in general. Like, I don't treat myself bad, but I don't like go out of my way to love myself like I do other people. So this year I've been really big on that. And I've seen the return. Like, I used to feel anxious when I got to like being by myself. I'm so used to being around so many other people that like when I would close my apartment door and it would be dead silent and me by myself, I would be like, what, I need to do something. What
Right.
I'm weird. And then now I'm like, I could just sit and stare out the window and my thoughts aren't racing. I be hoping nobody knock on my door. My thoughts don't race. I'm not like trying to figure out the next thing that I need to do. I've like gotten into a space where I could truly just sit and be in joy of myself. Yeah. Which took time. I'm 27. It took a while to get there.
You're so young, such a baby to me. I just feel like I always forget that you're 27 because you're so mature and you're doing so many great things in your life and in other people's life. It's like, how are you only 27?
Man.
Like, that's crazy.
You saying only. I feel like 27 getting up there.
That's because I feel like our age feels older because of our life experiences. You know, I feel like the things we've been through and experienced in life makes us feel older. And because sometimes it is, it kind of puts us ahead of our time. Yeah, so we feel that weight of like experiencing life, and it's just like, nigga, I'm old, but you're only 27. You ain't even 30 yet.
I been thinking about that, like the Oprahs and there's other names, but Oprah always sticks out to me. Like, dang, they didn't even like change their life, like change it until well into like their 30s and their 40s and whatnot. And I'm like how you were saying, the hustle culture of like, I gotta get it. And it's like, girl, you 27.
You're 27.
You got it.
And you getting it.
And you getting it.
What more do you need to get?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's that's why it's important for us to define success for ourselves. But I think that this is the perfect segue into you sharing your journey, your upbringing, because I think that what I'm hearing from you say is like who you are right now and how you show up for yourself and how you show up for other people probably is influenced for maybe like things you went through or how people weren't showing up for you or how you maybe didn't know how to show up for yourself when you was younger or before you got to this point. So like share, like who is T? Like what is your upbringing? What were you like as a kid? Like your household, everything. Tell me all your business.
Right. The whole life story. Let's see.
Or just like I feel like for me when I share mine, a pivotal point is like I was really young. I was like 4 or 6, but it was like when I saw my dad leave out the door, literally walk past me to go be with another woman. Like left our house. We was in there chilling with my mom. The lady came knock on the door. I opened it. That's why I remember because I'm like, I let this nigga out. I opened it.
Like he went for that. Let himself out.
I actually prayed to God for years. Like it was my fault. And I think no diss to my mom, but at that time, my mom blamed me and was like, it's your fault because I opened the door. So I carried that burden of it being my fault that my dad left. So I felt like I need to fix it. So I was going to God like, I didn't mean to open the door. Like, I didn't mean to let that lady in. When it was really my daddy just like making his own decisions. You feel me? So that's where my journey starts because that's my first experience of like trauma. I was young. You know, you don't really remember stuff when you were a kid, but I remember that vividly, and I'm just like, that's when it started for me. And I think just like my life and like how things were going, what I remember, my experiences, and like who I am now. So however you feel like that point is for you, let us know.
Dang, we really have such a similar story.
That's why we connect, and I love you, and that's why I want you to like, I want people to hear like Tietta, you know, not T. Not the music management, not the person that, you know, work with us, not the one who giving out free game on Fridays. Like, really just like, who is T? Like, who? Because I feel like people see your success story and they see you doing well. They, even if they've known you before, like you in this success, and they don't know, like, your journey and how you got there. They don't know, like, what you had to go through mentally to sustain this place you're in or to even, what you had to get past to even get here, you know, because I feel like we all have an opportunity. We all have the same amount of time, and like we all can have that go get it, right? But it's like it takes a certain person to really be able to like get past it and go get it. And I feel like nobody really knows that unless they really listen to your poetry And I feel like that's when you speak. I feel like that's when you share your journey is through your poetry. But I feel like a lot of niggas just hear fancy words and they go, that was tight, bro.
Right.
And they're not really hearing what you're saying.
Yeah. And I realized, too, through my poetry, I'm speaking around it. Like, I forgot where, and we're going to get into that part of it, but I forgot where we were, but I had mentioned, like, coming up in foster care, and the room was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah, I talk about it in my poetry. And I realized I never even, like, said those words. It's like, if you know the story, then everything makes sense. But if you don't know the story, you like, shoot, she went through something,
You're giving us little pieces. Like, even you mentioned something about a trailer park, too, huh? And I think for me, I was like, dang. Yeah. But I don't know the story. Like exactly. Why? How? Like, what is, like, you know?
Yeah. Okay, let me give y'all the inside scoop.
Yeah, give us the inside scoop.
So
this might get deep. Okay,
it's crazy. My story actually, like when I think about the moment where everything changed, is also a door being opened, which is so crazy. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dang. I'm like thinking of myself being 5 years old, and me and my mom, because I'm young still, so I think I'm going to like preschool or kindergarten. You know, it starts later than everybody else.
Yeah.
So I'm the youngest of 5. And my 4 other siblings are all at school. And me and my mom are getting ready to leave. She worked at Subway at the time. I can remember the whole uniform she has on. And we're getting ready to, like, walk out the door. And it's a white lady standing at the front door. Like, I think she was about to knock or she had already knocked. You know, like, your memories be making it more dramatic.
Yeah, you probably adding a little extra. She knocked at the door.
She was, her arm was
mid-knock, you open
Either way. And me and my mom are standing on the inside. It's a white lady standing on the outside talking about, you're going to come with me. And it's a van parked out front. And, like, that's really where my life took a turn.
Van. It's a van?
It's a van out front that say Child Protective Services on it. And, yeah, that was really, like, the start of my life journey, like, taking a turn for, like, is you gonna be strong enough to withstand the journey that I have for you? So yeah,
you know, I was in foster care too.
Yeah, you did tell. That's how we started talking about all that. That's how I'm like, dang, our journey is really so similar. For it to be a door. All right.
I didn't have a van though. I don't remember the van.
All right.
But the door being like the moment where you remember like your life shifting is crazy.
Where everything changing. So yeah, I went with the white lady into Child Protective Services, and I went into foster care from 5 to 15.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I was only in there for like 2 weeks.
Nah.
5 to 15?
That was like my whole life, really. That's why I always, me and Russ always play. He always be like, you white. And I'd be like, I had to tell him one day, like, I don't like that. Yeah. Like, don't say I'm white because I'm actually black.
Yeah.
I'm black and Mexican.
Yeah.
But I did grow up with white people.
Spanish.
Yeah. So a lot of like my culture and my upbringing was taken from me. Like, I didn't get to grow up with my Hispanic mother and learn that part of my life, or my black father and learn that part of my life. You know, I grew up completely outside of what
who you are.
Exactly. And I had to like figure out how to fit into a life that wasn't, I mean, I guess it was meant for me, but that I wasn't like born into, you know? So yeah, 5 to 15, I went through like a bunch of different foster homes at first.
Wow, I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like even when you told me, like, it was like we was in the Sprinter trying to get to it. So
and
like,
there was 15 people in the car.
So we were spreading, mumbling, and like not really talking about it. But wow, okay, sorry. Yeah. 5 to 15 is crazy. That's like your whole life.
Yeah. So 5 to 15, the first couple years, we moved around a lot. I remember my very first foster home, I was in it with like my oldest sister. We're 10 years apart. So I'm 5, she's 15. And I remember we were there for a minute with this white lady who did not like us. She did not like us. But she was nice enough to like let us into her home. Yeah. So thank her for that. And she had a son who was like coming home from the military, who was about like the same age or like maybe a couple years older than my sister. And I remember he came to visit, and then he went back to the military, and she went with him. And it was like, all right.
That was that.
So now I'm alone in this foster home with this lady who do not want us here. And I don't really remember how it came to be, but I ended up leaving that foster home. They really, and I appreciate them for this, I think about it often, like they really did their best to keep all of us together. So I didn't have to like be by myself in all these foster homes as I was like very young. But eventually So my older sister is 10 years older than me, and then it just kind of trickles down to where the brother right above me is only 2 years older than me. So everybody else is somewhere between 10 and 2 years older. And they all was like not feeling the foster care thing. So they're getting in trouble a lot. And eventually they're like, we can't find any homes that want to take all of y'all.
That's what I was going to say. It's all y'all, right? But at first, so when you left at first, who was that? It was you and who else?
It was just me and my older sister in this home. And then I think they had both my brothers and my other sister in another home. So they did their best to like try to keep us together in some way. But eventually, the last home that I ended up being in that I left at 15 was the last home that they put all of us together. And one by one, my brother gets kicked out for fighting with my sister. And then my other brother refuses to go to school, so he gets kicked out. My oldest sister, I think either she was there or she ended up running away, whatever. And then my second oldest sister, and it's funny, we talk about this to this day. I think she was the last one who was there with me. And we shared a bedroom, and I was on the top bunk, and she was on the bottom bunk. And I wake up to her, like, climbing out the window one night. I swear to God.
Not leaving you.
And I'm like, I'm trying to come down from the bed, like, I'm going to come with you. And she's like, shh, I'll be back. I'm going to come back. I'm thinking she's just sneaking out to a party or something.
Yeah.
Never came back. And that was that. After that, I was alone in this foster home. And we would have visits and stuff with my mom still, because she was, like, you know, trying really hard to get us back. But she just couldn't, like, you know, once you get your kids taken away, it's a lot of things you gotta like checklist, to be able to get them back. And she just couldn't get it together enough to get us all back. So we're doing visits and whatnot, and I just remember them telling me like, this is a good home for you to stay in, so don't mess it up. Like they feed you, they got clothes on your back, ain't nobody hitting you or touching you or doing nothing weird. It could be worse.
And so it's just you at this point.
And it's just me now, but we're still going to visits, and I'm able to like see the siblings who aren't like on the run are able to like come and visit, but the other ones, they don't come because it's like they see you. Exactly.
They want it.
Yeah. So that's why I ended up staying in that foster home and not like trying to like get back with my mom or anything. You know, I'm just like doing my best to like keep it copacetic. I think I had to be like 7 or 8 at the time. So I only spent like 2-3 years like moving through homes before I was in a permanent home for at least like almost 10 years. So
where was this? What city was this?
This is Ukiah.
Okay.
Yep. I grew up, we were taken in Ukiah, and then I grew up in Ukiah.
You from Ukiah?
Crazy, crazy.
I don't know where that's at.
Yeah, it's up north. Like, do you know where Santa Rosa is? It's about an hour north of Santa Rosa. Yeah, wow. Mendocino County.
That's why you ain't never gangbanging.
We don't have nothing. we claim the Bay.
Okay.
So at 15, I'm a freshman in high school at this point, and I'm just like, I'm growing into being my own person. Yeah. Like I'm tired of people pleasing. At this point, I kind of realized like I'm never really gonna fit into this home in the way that I want to anyway. And I remember we snuck out to a party. I was staying the night at my friend's house. We snuck out to a party and didn't come home till like 6 a.m.
That's crazy.
My foster mom was so mad when she picked us up. She was so mad. She was screaming at me the whole way home. And I remember like something clicking in my brain. Like she had said, and I'll never forget it. She was like, if you want to pull this shit, you could pull it somewhere else. And I was like, I will then.
Yeah.
And now she said, what? And I said, I will then. And that was that. And in that moment, I was like, I'm not going to stay here no more.
Yeah.
Like I'm good off of living in this home. And I went home. And I was like, I want to talk to my social worker. Like, I already knew how to get out of the foster home if I wanted to. And I was like, I want to talk to my social worker. I don't want to be here no more. They put me in contact with her, and I told her, like, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to say I want to leave, and they're going to get me out of here tomorrow.
Right.
No.
It don't work like that.
No. I had to spend that whole summer there being, like, the black sheep.
Yeah.
They was not having it. I was, like, locked in my room. I remember they had renovated the attic to have it as my room because I was, like, one of the only girls. And, they was like, don't come down from your room. All the other kids who lived in the house, they was like, don't talk to her. Don't, like, she's not, basically, she ain't cool no more.
And was they white too?
No, the boys are like half white, half Mexican. It was like a bunch of boys. She was white, and then her husband was Mexican. So I spent that whole summer. I remember, like, I still had bunk beds in the room. And I remember like laying on the bunk bed. They took my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to listen to no music.
You was Cinderella up in there. Bruh.
And I remember just sitting there like twirling a pencil on the ground because I still had a notebook. So I was writing a lot of poetry and journaling a lot. And I remember just laying on the side of that bed, just twirling a pencil around, just like, I can't wait to get up out of here.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think like within like 2 weeks of me leaving, because I had a departure date. Within 2 weeks, they was like, it is what it is. Like, she about to leave. So they eased up. I was able to like go see my other friends that I had in high school at the time. And they basically just was like, you can do whatever. You about to get up out of here.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I moved in with my mom the end of that summer, like I think a week before school started for my sophomore year.
Is that so you went from there to your mom?
Yep, to Clear Lake, California.
Okay.
And that was
that's a little closer, ain't it?
Nah.
No, okay.
Nah. Yeah, I moved to Clear Lake, California, and that's where the trailer park was.
Okay, that's where that come in.
And I lived in a trailer park with my mom. I remember it was a 2-bedroom trailer, and me and my mom had to share a bedroom because my brother had the other bedroom at first. So I'm like, this is cool. Yeah. This is my brother who's like 2 years older than me. So we're the closest in age. I remember like that was really my dog. So I was hella excited to go back to live with him. But a lot had changed by that time. You know, he's I'm 14, so he's 16 now. He's going through like trying to figure out who he is. Yeah. And he's a black man, so it's a lot of pressure on a black man, you know, trying to figure out who they are at that age. Yeah. So I remember living there for like a couple weeks, and I think we went to the same school if he wasn't in continuation school yet, and he got into like a fight. There was like a fight at the bus stop, and they jumped him, and all of his homies who was like fighting too ended up leaving, so he got jumped and he got beat up like really bad. And I remember it was my first time like seeing him like hurt like that ever in my life, aside from like what our pops used to do, but it was like with a belt. It was never like to the face and all that, you know? And I remember seeing something in him like change. Like he was always super sweet, and I had like tried to touch his face or something like to like, you know,
check on him.
Yeah.
Nurture him.
He was like, don't touch me. Like snapped. And he had never snapped at me like that before. And I'll never forget, like he just changed after that day. And it was a lot. Clear Lake just, man, it was a hectic place.
Yeah.
Eventually my other sister ended up moving in. I think she had 2 kids at this time or 3. So she ended up moving in, her and her boyfriend. My other brother ended up moving in too.
Y'all all found each other at some point.
A couple of like my cousins was staying there. So
all in the 2-bedroom
and that's why I said
park?
yes, and that's why I said we was 8 deep in that trailer
Wow.
park. And it was more than 8. I remember my siblings was like, girl, it was more than 8. But I was like, I mean, I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to over exaggerate, so I figured I'd underplay it. But it was at least 8 of us in that trailer park.
That's crazy.
In that 2-bedroom. It was it was a time. I remember my mama used to, I didn't know it at the time, but she told me afterwards that she used to cut, because, you know, if you live in a trailer, it's propane. It's not regular electricity. Okay. It's a propane heater to heat your water. And it was so many of us at the time that by the time I had to shower,
let's go.
Ain't no hot water. So she told me later on that she would unplug the propane tank so that way the boys and everybody would think there wasn't no hot water. But the point was so that way I would have hot water to shower for school. Yeah. But she never told me. So I remember being in there taking cold showers. Or I would like,
it was unplugged.
I would heat the water up on the stove in like a pot, and then I would take it into the bathroom with me, and I would dump a rag in there and just stand in the shower and like wash down.
And then dump the pot on you with the warm water.
My gosh, it was a time. It was a time. It was definitely. I remember thinking back to like sitting in that room, sharing it with my mom, and she's like out in the living room and I'm in the back room by myself, and thinking like, you have to make a decision. Like either this gonna break you or this is gonna be the reason why you make it. But you have to make a decision because this is chaos.
Yeah.
This is like, when I was leaving my foster home, I still have the note in my phone to this day because I had an iPhone at the time, and you know, iPhone syncs all your stuff. So I had wrote like a letter to myself, like, today's the day you're going to move in with your mom, and, things are going to be different. Like, you're not, it ain't sweet like how it was with your foster family. Like, money going to be tight. Everything is going to be a lot lower of a quality, but at least you'll have like genuine love and care. Mm-hmm. You'll be with a family that wants you and loves you, and you won't have to ever question that. But nothing could have prepared me for that, because I just, like, when I left, I was 5. So it's like, I didn't really, and it was my mom and my dad. So we were actually living like pretty well. Yeah. She worked. I don't really know what he did, but we was okay. Yeah, we was okay. And by this time, it's like 10 years later, and my mom's been by herself this entire time, and it just, I didn't know it was going to be that rough. I couldn't have prepared for that. So I remember sitting down, like, you knew it was going to be bad, but you didn't know it was going to be this bad. Yeah. So you need to make a decision on, like, if this going to break you or if this is going to, like, make you. Yeah. And here we are.
It ain't breaking.
Here we are.
I'll be here when you were saying, like, you had already started writing. When you was in foster care. Yeah. So I'm curious, like, when did you start writing? I'm like, when did writing and like poetry come into it? And was that something like, because I like to write, but my writing is more like journaling. I think when I was younger, like, I played with the idea of music, I played with the idea of poetry, but just because I knew I liked to write, and I felt like that was a space where I could just let it out. Like, writing for me, like, I have this journal. My best friend of like 18 years, I think it would make 20 actually. I don't know. We got to count. Right, but she has my journal from when I was a kid, and I was just writing about everything. But even when I think back on that, like, in my journal, because I was writing it out, for whatever reason, it always led to me having some hope. Like, I was talking about what I was going through, and then it was like, I don't know, and this is a realization now, maybe because I was writing in the form of a story, my life, but at the end, like, tying it into, like, future, like, still giving me hope, and, like, holding on for me, because I am very spiritual with God. I'm like, I know God gonna do something. Like, so writing for me was, like healing in a sense, and it was something that I just felt like, because therapy back then wasn't a thing, and it wasn't even, like, a resource. Maybe you had the school counselor at school, but I've been in foster care, so I'm scared to tell them my business, because y'all going to take me again from my mom.
Ain't in a safe space.
It ain't in a safe space. So writing for me was that. And for you, it sounded like you was writing early. Like, what age you started writing?
I want to say, like, 6, 7. Wow. At whatever point in time that a child becomes fluent in writing. They understand the alphabet, they understand all the words, and they can write. Because it's funny you say therapy wasn't a thing, but for me it was. It was mandatory. Like, as a child who goes through the system and you're in it for that period of time, they put you with a counselor, they put you in therapy. We have family therapy, and then you have individual therapy. So it was a lot of talking about your feelings. Yeah. And I remember sitting across from this lady who don't look like me, who probably hasn't been through what I've been through, trying to get me to relate to her, you know? And it didn't make a lot of sense. And I don't even remember who she was or when it happened, but I remember being told, like, about an emotional toolbox, and to decide, like, these things that you'll be able to reach for when you're triggered in an emotional way, whether that be angry, sad, or whatever. And we were supposed to find our tools together. So they gave me, like, a bunch of different options to do. And writing was one of them. And I just, like, I always wrote, like, how I was feeling, what was happening. And I don't really remember when poetry became a thing, but I remember when it, like, I knew it was my thing. Yeah. I had wrote a poem about suicide, about, like, wanting to die, and just I remember being, like, super young. I had to have been, like, 7 or 8. Wow. And I remember writing it and being like, this is probably the best thing that's ever been written ever. Like, it was hard. This is so good. I wish I still had it, because I'm like, damn, I wonder if it was really that good, or if it was just like your young mind. But it just I didn't want to die. But I knew that, like, I didn't want to be going through what I was going through. And after I wrote it, I didn't feel as heavy as I did before I wrote it. And I knew that, like, that feeling was something that I could always find through writing. And so it stuck with me.
Yeah.
I probably have countless notebooks. When I moved in with my mom, I remember I had like a box with all my stuff, and she said she still has it somewhere. So,
Oh, your mom still has it?
I hope so. She was doing a bunch of yard sales, and I remember seeing that box with all the stuff. She's like, I won't get rid of it.
Your journals is
I would be so sad.
They worth something.
I think she still has it though. I gotta ask her.
When you tell me that, it makes me think about when I don't know how old I was, but I remember I used to want to be. I used to want to work for Child Protective Services, so I was trying to go to school to be a social worker because I was like, because you said you were sitting across from somebody that don't look like you and probably haven't been through what you've been through.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the biggest thing. Like, the people who was handling those cases was just going by a book and probably really have no real life experiences to really be able to understand what's best for the child at the time, and don't even realize you're probably making our life worse. Or sometimes they're leaving kids in situations where they need to be taken from. So I was like, I want to be a social worker. I'm gonna make sure that everything is done right. Kids get to be with their family. And so I started realizing, like, I don't have a heart, but I'm gonna want to take the kids home. I'm not going to be able to leave work at work. Like, it's going to be very heavy for me. And so then that's when I started to explore other things. I was like looking at dental hygiene or something because I heard they make some money. But I was like, because I was in anthropology and we was studying, that was my least favorite class, obviously, because I'm a Christian. I'm like, nigga, y'all trying to tell me you came from monkeys and big booms. But when we was studying, like, the monkeys and, like, the mouths, canines, all that type of stuff, I was like, oh no, I was kind of enjoying it. And I was like, maybe I could do dental hygiene. I was also in a space where I was like, what do I want to do in my life?
Man.
And I was like, I've been in community college for 4 years. I need to be leaving making some money. Yeah, I was in community college for 4 years trying to hoop. I was like,
sports will keep you there.
But still, 4 years is crazy.
Yeah.
To hoop at community college. I also had Kylie there, and then I just think my school counselors wasn't no help. They were just trying to make sure I did classes to hoop, but not really like for me to progress and for my future. But yeah, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. That's what that made me think of.
Yeah.
Okay, so T now, like, just like who you are right now, how do you think that played a part in like how you spoke about showing up for yourself? Because I know for me, I still struggle with it. Like, I really do. Like, my whole life has been taking care of other people. I never had a what you call it, like a childhood. Like, I never was able to be a kid.
Yeah.
I was always having to be, I'm the second oldest, but even with my older sister, I'm her older sister. And when my mom was in this 17-year abusive relationship, I'm having to be the other parent in the house. Like, I'm fighting back with my mom, one. Two, my younger sisters, like, I'm watching them early. Like, I ain't even old enough to properly wipe my own butt. I'm babysitting.
How I'm babysitting?
But my mom had to go to work because she had to go get it, and we didn't have no other help. And I just remember very young, like, just having to be mature, or as mature as I could be at an early age. And the only time I felt like a kid, or like I didn't have no responsibilities as I shouldn't have as a kid, right, was when I was hooping. That was the only time I felt like free. I mean, I was like staying at practices late. I always tell people I was skipping class to go hoop, skipping my recess to go. No, not my recess. Skipping my classes to go hoop at other people's recesses. And I was carrying my ball to school every day. Like, that was the only outlet I had. I was literally like trying to be Monica on Love Basketball. And so that was like the only time I felt like I was able to be a kid. But other than that, like, I just have to tighten up. Even like getting a job as early as I can. I got jobs so early, I had to get the worker's permit. Like, my teachers had to sign it. Even with my license, they had
you at 8 hours per week.
Bruh. Then I had to, I took driver's ed. I got my license really early, just really having to be an adult early. And my first job was McDonald's. I was like, as early as I could get it. And like, always hustling. And so for me, because I always had to help take care of my family, I always had to be there for my family. And then because my mom wasn't able to take care of me and be a mom, I had to raise myself and take care of myself. And so I noticed, like, as I got older, how that played a part with me being in this hustle culture and this grind culture, and feeling like that's all I knew how to do. Like, I didn't know how to rest. I don't know how to, like, even when dating, like, me being independent, I'm like, I remember I was saying one time, I was like, one thing, my boyfriend, before we was together, he was asking me, like, what is one thing, like, you would want to keep about yourself, or, you know, going into a relationship. I was like, my independence. I want to be an independent woman.
Independence.
I don't want no man. I still want to be able to do my thing. Like, I was just holding on to that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I couldn't, then, like, I wouldn't be myself, in a sense.
Yeah.
But now, transition with me going through therapy and healing and actually putting in the work to unlearn all the things I've been through, I'm like, I can't wait to not have to be no independent woman. Like, I roll the towels, I cook dinner, like, whatever, right? The kids take them to school. I don't want to be no independent woman.
Great stay-at-home wife.
I want to depend. You know, I even think that affected my relationship with God, like, not allowing me to fully depend on him, because I felt like I had to do everything on my own. If I don't make it happen, if I don't do it, if I'm not making sure that I'm over here and over here, then it ain't gonna line, it ain't gonna work out. And that took away even me knowing that God probably the only person I could depend on for real at the time where I was at. So that's how it affected me. And I think now, even with hearing you, like, and me still being like admiring you, saying like, I'm gonna make sure I go to the gym and I'm gonna make sure I do this, because I'm very heavy on, like, even when it comes to certain opportunities. I've been thinking one with La Russell before, like, it was like a last minute project and I was exhausted, tired, and I'm always in a space where I'm saying yes, I want to show up, I want to make sure people know I'm there, but I was like, I just can't, bro. Like, I just don't have it in me, and I had to trust that me and him have that rapport, and we built that relationship to where he understood, and I'll still be able to work with y'all, and I'll still be able to get great opportunities. But right now, I just got to choose me, you know? But it's hard to come to that, especially when you come from nothing. You feel like you miss one step, you're going to lose everything that you gained. Yeah.
Man, you know, sometimes when I be sitting and I be thinking about, like, the person that I've become, it's hard for me to separate how much of it is a trauma response and how much of it is, like, me becoming, like, the best version of myself. Like, I still have a very strained relationship with my mom. I'm not the most religious apple in the basket, but Lord, if I'm going to talk to God about anything, it always be that of just, like, trying to have him help me find forgiveness. Because I'm carrying these bags so tight. And I'm like, it reminded me of, like, people who are just, like, who don't have control of their body. And it's like, you trying so hard to get your hands to release, and they just will not.
Yeah.
And I think about it often, because it's like, at this point, I haven't seen my mom in over a year. Because I'm like, I'm tired of showing up angry. Like, I don't want to be that person, but I don't know how to let it go, or to just accept her for who she is and everything that happened, and, you know, all the works.
Yeah.
So that's a big area in my life that I'm still working through and trying to figure out how to navigate, because it's like, neither one of us wanted that. None of our siblings. Like, I don't have a strained relationship with my siblings, but we're not close.
Yeah.
None of us, really. I mean, my second oldest sister, kind of.
Yeah.
And even still, like, we don't talk that often. But when we do talk, it's great. I love her. I love her a lot. But I think that it definitely has reflected in, like, even my relationship with my peers. Like, I don't have a lot of close friends. And, like, the close friends that I do have, like, we're really close. Like, Taylor or Bella, or even, like, my friend Gabby. I haven't seen her in years. And she got engaged the other day, and I was still, like, one of the first people that she told and sent the pictures to, you know. So, like, I think I just, it's made it difficult for me to maintain close relationships, like, consistently. Like, the closest relationship I got right now is Lil Russell. And that's because we work together and we have, like, this hustle culture together. Like, I think we're both, you know, working through our trauma through hustle. And, like, even aside from him, like, everybody else that we see all the time, that we work with all the time, like, I love everybody that we work with, but I don't feel, like, super close with everybody. Splash is probably, like, the next closest person, and then Mally. But I think that that's really, like, a reflection of me, like growing up the way that I did, and being super independent and feeling like nobody's going to show up for you if you don't show up for you, and nobody's like, if everything was down bad, nobody's going to be there. So you need to make sure you there. And it makes you like not trust anybody or not count on anybody. And
very protective of yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've loosened up a lot. Like, I'm not afraid to share or to be close with people, but I also notice, like, I don't make the effort to either. Like, I don't really, it's tough. Yeah. Because I'll be like, I don't care to, but then sometimes you'd be like, damn, I wish I did have me some friends. So, yeah, that's definitely, like, the biggest thing right now that I'm working through with everything that I went through and trying to, like you say, unlearn those responses, because you can't carry them. Like, that story that chapter been closed. Yeah. But you still walking around like you living in it, you know? Like, you got this, your hands clenched and this guard up. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just made me very on guard all the time. And, like, I'm cool with people. Right. But am I ecstatic to be in a group of people? Not really. Yeah.
I think I feel like it's because you've been let down a lot. Yeah. By people. You know, because I think about when we hung out, we went to Chris Brown concert. That's still one of the top 5. That concert was so fun.
He's really good.
He's really good. And then this is the way we got to that concert, bro. Like, it was like crazy. But even then, I just seen a different side of you. Like, from everything, your outfit, you was looking like a girl. Right. Your hair, everything. Every and just even, right. But just even like your energy was just like a breath of fresh air. You like, I needed this community. I need to come out and be with just the girls. Like, you know, and it was like you let your hair down. Yeah. But I can understand how, like, just your upbringing can, like, still have that hold on you, and that trauma is real, you know, and that's something really that has to be worked through, but you got to be able to know what it is first and be wanting to. I think a lot of times people use their trauma as an excuse, like, I don't trust nobody, I ain't this, I ain't that, and, like, hold that, right, but you're miserable. But I think with you, just noticing, like, it starts with yourself. So making sure, like, the things you're doing for yourself, you going to the gym, you eating right, and just making sure that you're resting and not submitting too much to the industry and your work and what you do. It starts there. And then opening yourself. I feel like you have, because I feel like our relationship is growing. Yeah. And you even wanting to just be more with the girls and just in general, even you taking that birthday trip solo. You feel me? I think that all is a part of just, like, your healing. And I can relate when it comes to your mom and, like, still, like, having enough grace to understand where they were and they did the best that they could, but still trying to heal that part of you is like, I needed you. And I need you probably even more now as an adult than I did as a kid. That's a whole nother journey. Yeah. And one thing I like to always say, my therapist brought to my attention, is that my expectations is what's hurting me. It's not my mom. It's my expectations of her. And once I'm able to accept her for who she really is, then our relationship can be better. And once I start to understand the type of relationship I can have with her, it may not be what I want, but it can be something, then I can start to heal. And that's a tough process. You feel me? So
it'd be tough. It'd be tough. Especially, like, I didn't grow up close with family. Like, I grew up in a household that had a family, and, like, I was cool with a couple of them, but we weren't, like, close. Like, we're not sharing deepest, darkest secrets and, you know, sitting around the campfire. So it's like, it'd be tough for me to find value in those relationships, because it's like, I never had them before, you know? And I know that that's, like, a trauma response, because it's like, when I see people close with their family, it pulled a little heartstring. I'm like, oh, that must be nice, huh? Yeah. But getting there, like, past that little boundary of, like, no, this is something that you do want deep down inside, but you got to work to get it, is like, man,
and
I wish you could just push a button.
For sure. It almost feels undeserving, too. Like, maybe this is not for me. Maybe, like, I don't get that, you know?
Yeah, I've had that thought a lot. Like, maybe just... No, my story wasn't written by accident. Yeah. So it's like, maybe it just wasn't for me. Like, I have great close friends, and I've been able to, like, create my own family. Yeah. So maybe... Why would God take me away from the family that I was born into if I was supposed to be close to them, then he would have kept me close to them, right?
For sure.
So I'm always like, what you do it for? Why did you do it then? And am I forcing the closeness based off of societal expectations and not just following the path that I was given? Because it's like, I be feeling bad. I love y'all if y'all watch this. It's not like I don't love my family. Like, that sounds crazy. I'm a very loving person. But it's tough to, imagine you seen this is what I said to Mally the other day. Imagine you grew up in an adopted family. Mm-hmm. From birth, you was given into another family, and that's your family, right? And then your birth mom walk into your life, and she like, well, I'm your mom. Let's have a relationship. You like, who the hell are you?
She's shaking the table.
You might be my mom, but you're not, and that's like a tough thing to be in, because it's like, she's like, I am your mom. I carried you in my womb for 9 months. Like, for her, the relationship is real. That closeness is real. I gave you life. Yeah. But for me, I don't know none of that. Yeah. I'm just out here living my life, and everything that I know got you looking like a stranger. Yeah. And figuring out how to bridge that with everything, with all of my siblings and everything, is tough, because it's like all those formative years, 5 to 15.
That's a long time.
By the time you're 15, you think you grown. Yeah. And I'm 15 with a job.
You think you grown?
I think I'm grown. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. Now y'all know me.
Right. And I want to say that, just to your point, before we end it, God really does bring people in your life for a reason. Mm. And even when I'm telling Kylie, you don't always have to stay in this relationship with somebody because they're your blood. If they're not doing you right, and they're doing you wrong, blood is not enough to keep you to allowing that person to keep hurting you. Mm-hmm. And be open to people who do come in your life, who do want to love you, and who do want to be there for you, and it's genuine. And see that God is bringing people in our life. It may not be who you wanted to be, but it'll be who you needed to be. Mm-hmm. But that's hard, because who you want, it's like that connection, because y'all blood, that'll never go away. Yeah. I was telling Allie, your real mom could beat you and keep you in a basement and not feed you, and you still like, I love my mom. Right. I just want my mom. But just knowing how to love yourself just as much, so then you can make sure you open to the people who will love you just as you love yourself. Right. So I feel like you're on that path. And I appreciate you for sharing. I feel like it's so much more that bro, that we got in common. Because even when you were saying something, I'm like, me too. Like, just hearing you. But the whole point of this podcast is to help people graduate from fear and just trauma, and being in the way of yourself, and being able to grow and evolve and really step into what's for you, So I feel like that's what you want. I am. And I thank you for sharing it with me, and I'm inspired, and I truly do love you as a friend. Ditto. And I appreciate our relationship, and just even the opportunities you bring to me too, when it comes to business, or when it just comes to just being a friend.
Ditto. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you. How can people find you?
You can find me on all platforms, I think. I changed my handle recently. On all platforms, I go by my government name now. It's Tietta Mitchell.
Professional.
Tietta Mitchell, like Mitchell and Ness.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you. Y'all go follow her and get some free game. Now, we didn't talk about the business aspect.
We really didn't at all.
But I love that. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I like it.
Okay,
I feel like this is the first time that I've gotten to just speak about me as an individual. As a human. And not what I do, how I serve other people, but how is T doing? Yeah. And how are you able to survive? Yeah. I feel like from the moment we come out that womb, honestly, from the moment the sperm catch the egg, it's about survival.
and we ain't even asked.
And all of us are doing our best to survive. Yeah. So when you hear people's stories about how they have survived everything, because everybody's been through something. Mm-hmm. When you hear how people have survived, it gives you a different level of grace and respect for them. I think that sometimes people look at me like I'm a robot, or oh, what can she do for me? What can she do for me? And it's I let her serve my people, but I'm a person too.
You're a person too. And also, you did for yourself in order to get to a point where you can do more for others. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I wanted to share your story, because people just see T, like who you are, what you're doing now, but like what did you really have to go through to get there?
Yeah.
You know? So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you y'all for joining this part. So we're joining another episode of This Might Get Deep. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Because it did get deep.
Because it did get deep.